Welcome to Super Talk, the podcast that scratches your superhero itch. Just two suburban dads nerding out over superhero stuff on the small screen and the big. Buckle up, people. Enjoy the ride. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for pushing play. Like and subscribe, please. Thank you. A little different look on the set today?
A little bit.
That's such a badass center. It's so cool.
Oh, goodness.
Like a gentleman. I know you're ready. I'm not even going to ask. On 3.
Welcome to Super Talk, the weekly podcast dedicated to news and reviews of comic book media on the big and small screen. This is episode number 81. I'm your host, Brian Professor Pettis, and with me, as always, is my illustrious co-host, Titanium Tony Estrella. Titanium.
Professor, listen. What is going on?
Yeah.
It's been a crazy week.
It has...
Rumors, innuendos, and just an absolute imploding.
It's been a really crazy week, and we're here to talk about it all.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
While we're kind of in this little bit of a lull right now between new content and new shows and movies coming out on the screen, there's a lot of news hitting the wire that we need to get to this week.
Yeah, absolutely, Professor.
Yeah.
And you've laid it out pretty nicely for the audience here, so let's get to it, sir.
Oh, well, before we get started, we want to thank the listeners that bring the show to you. Those are our patrons. Patreon.com/supertalk is how you become a patron of the show. Donate $1 every time we come out with an episode, and you're now supporting the show directly. It'd be great if you join the Patreon. Patreon.com/supertalk is how you support this show. All right, let's get into the review section. As I mentioned, no real new comic book media this week, other than what I'll say is an ancillary comic book media show or movie that came out this week. And I say this, that it's kind of attached to some extent because the movie Prey came out on Hulu this week.
Yeah.
And there have been numerous runs in the comic books about the Predator character, Predator versus Alien, a bunch of as successful as that franchise has been over the years, they have had comic book series based on those characters, and you got to watch Prey. So tell us what you thought. I mean, how
it was
it?
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was...
Give us like a rough premise of the movie. What's the kind of the premise?
As you know, the Predators, they're hunters.
They're aliens that go from world to world, basically trying to prove themselves as, the
dominant predators.
Yeah, they can basically hunt and kill anything, basically, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it is. It's back in, the trapper type of Indian, not the modern day Indian, but way back when, before.
Like 400 years ago.
Yeah.
400 years ago, would you say? Is that about the...
Yeah, before people before the West was...
1300s, basically. Yeah, so something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before 1492, when Columbus discovered the American continent. This is basically the American continent as it was before, the Western world came to the United States.
Well,
right?
I think, there's definitely pistols, the powder pistols that are in this. So, and some French trappers from Canada are involved in this. So I would say it's probably a little bit later than
maybe
that.
Maybe what, 1500s, maybe something like that. It's okay.
But excellent. I mean, really good. I thought it was great. It was very reminiscent of the first Predator, where they're in the jungle and they're getting hunted by this thing, and then Arnold has to figure out how to, if it bleeds, he can kill it.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah.
Y'all get your big guns and come out and kill the Predator, and then I'm going to cover myself in mud and make myself so that he can't see me with this X-ray vision. Yeah.
None of that in there, but it was great. Yeah, the actress that played the lead was fabulous. And
what I heard, it was a scenario of the females are kind of like, deprecated in these societies. The males kind of run and lead everything, and the females are kind of like secondary to them. But the smartest person in the tribe happens to be female, right? She knows how to do everything, right?
Well, her brother's a badass.
Oh, yeah.
And he becomes the war chief of the tribe, and he's a complete badass. And he takes his toll on the Predator, that's for sure, but doesn't defeat it. She ends up defeating it, outwits it. So it's pretty good. It's a pretty cool movie. I really liked it a lot.
It's good. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna check it out for sure.
You should.
I don't think it's something that my wife's very interested in, so I'm looking for a good time frame to kind of to watch this. And,
my wife asked, "Is this something that I would like?" I said, "Absolutely not. You will not like this one bit." I can already tell you. I'm being honest with you. I poured myself a huge tequila drink, and I made this assumption that it was good before I finished it. But it's a good movie. You'll enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good action.
Can't wait to check it out. So go check out Prey on Hulu, right? It's streaming.
Hulu, yep.
Streaming on Hulu.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump into the news, and we'll save a lot of stuff that came out this week for our topic of the week, but we do have a bunch of news items to talk about. The first one is a big announcement for our show. So we did a live anniversary show about a year ago, sometime last year, or was it earlier this year? I think it was earlier this year, right? We had our 1 year anniversary show in early 2022. And that was kind of to mark our 1 year anniversary of the Super Talk podcast. We've got another live show coming up, so
yes,
you want to give the audience some details?
Yeah, we're going to go head out to Bear Chase in September 11th. It's a Sunday morning at 11:45. We're going to be doing our show out there at Bear Chase Brewery. Out in beautiful Bluemont, Virginia, and please come out, say hello, enjoy the show, have a couple of beers, and then it's before the NFL games,
right?
So we're going to be doing our show.
We're looking forward to this for a couple of reasons. One, we love the Bear Chase Brewery out in Bluemont, Virginia. It's a beautiful location. Sits on top of a mountain that overlooks this incredibly beautiful valley. They serve really good beer and some great food and snacks there. They're going to have live music there that afternoon as well. As well as they're kind of celebrating the kickoff of the NFL season.
Yeah.
The Sunday games are going on right after our show is over. Is when the Sunday kickoff will happen. The other thing we're really excited about is doing a live show. We have a lot to talk about. That's going to be the weekend of D23.
Huge weekend.
Yeah.
It'll be the day after D23. You and I are going to have to hit the books and study the night before
right.
and try to digest everything that's been regurgitated at us from D23 on that Saturday.
Well, we've got two things. We've got Disney Plus Day on Thursday night, the Thursday night before, and then on Saturday, we did hear this week that both Lucasfilm and Marvel will be sharing the stage at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, September 10th. And they're going to be coming on at 1 p.m. And most of the other sessions that are happening at D23 have a time frame. This one doesn't have a time frame.
Wow.
It just says 1 p.m.
Jeez.
So this could go on for 2 or 3 hours, depending on how long. And Lucasfilm's going to be up there talking about a lot of the Star Wars projects they have. We're obviously more focused on the Marvel side of things, but we're expecting some major announcements. Filling in that Phase 4 and Phase 5 and Phase 6 schedule that they released at Comic-Con. They're going to fill it in a little bit more, fill the gaps that they didn't tell us about at Comic-Con.
Well, they gave us a lot of empty dates, and as you know, and some of the rumors that are come out, that I think we're going to get an official announcement of some of these things.
Look,
a lot of shows that we're waiting. We know there's shows in the can. We know there's shows that have been greenlit, and they didn't even announce these shows.
And this is Disney Plus shows as well as movies, right?
So Armor Wars is something that we know is happening, but they didn't announce it.
Right, didn't announce Armor Wars was the big kind of glaring omission there. But there's a number of others that have been announced or at least greenlit that we don't know anything about. Things like Nova, Wonder Man. There's just so many other shows that are kind of, we know they're in the
Werewolf
works.
by Night.
They didn't say anything about that.
Special, nothing.
And we assume that a lot of that's going to be happening on Disney Plus Day before D23. But I think D23 is going to be a huge announcement about a lot of the other upcoming movies that we assume are happening are going to be part of this Phase 5 and Phase 6 schedule. We got most of Phase 5. We feel there's a little gap in there somewhere that we weren't told about in February of 2024. And then Phase 6, the only thing we know about that was Fantastic Four and the 2 Avengers movies, both Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. But there's a number of slots in there that need to be filled in, and we believe that that's when it's going to happen.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to have our plate full that day at Bear Chase, and we're going to be getting through all of that.
Yeah.
So come out, take a listen, enjoy our show, have a beer, get some food, just chill out. Hopefully the weather is perfect. Listen to some live music, and then the NFL games are on.
All right, yeah, it'll be great. So please come join us. Hey, one of the things. Oh, we got some.
What's that?
Wow, we got a princess delivering us some cocktails.
Wow.
Enjoy,
Thank
fellas.
you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Wow, a little orange crush here. Wow.
Boy.
All right, that's good.
Wow. Hello.
Wow.
Put some alcohol in that next time.
Good Lord.
Jeez.
That's a deep pour.
All right. Well, and speaking of some of these announcements, one that we're looking forward to that we kind of got teased this week. Kevin Feige was interviewed after Comic-Con and was asked specifically about the future of Harry Styles in the MCU. You know, he made a big cameo at the end of the Eternals movie as Arrow's Star Fox.
And we've been wondering about this, right?
Right.
Like,
and,
is he one and done?
Right.
What's going on with the Eternals?
So he was asked specifically, what are we going to see Harry Styles again? And he said, look, we've got these kind of street-based, characters like, Daredevil and Spider-Man. We've got these, supernatural characters like Blade and Moon Knight and Doctor Strange. And then we have these space-based characters where Arrows and Star Fox are kind of going to fit in. So he said, we're going to see these characters again in the MCU and some of these space-based projects. And then Patton Oswalt, love the guy, comes out on the Today Show and basically confirms that Marvel is working currently on Eternals 2.
Yeah.
He basically comes out and says it to the whole world on the Today Show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I played that little character at the post-credit scenes of the Eternals. Yeah, Marvel's working on Eternals 2 right now. I expect to be back for that.
Yeah, and he says Harry Styles is in it.
Right.
Yeah, he's going to be in it. I'm going to be in it.
Right.
And the director, what's her name?
Chloe Zhao.
She's going to be directing
She's directing it.
She's on the project where she's already... I was like, oh, man.
Just came out.
He got in trouble?
He's like, they've announced that Eternals 2 is coming. And we're like,
no, they haven't.
No, they haven't announced that yet, Patton. But, hey, great for Patton Oswalt. Thank you for that. That's another project that sounds like Marvel is working on, whether it's actively, the script is written or they have, they're doing some new castings or whatever. We do anticipate that both Circe and Dane Whitman, Black Knight, will probably be in those Avengers movies, the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars to some extent. So we expect them to show up again before those movies come out. And so Eternals 2 would make sense if you're bringing those characters back in the MCU.
Yeah. He'll absolutely be in Blade, obviously, if he was in the credit.
Come on, dude.
How can he not be?
I'm so excited for that movie. It's going to be great. All right, so that's a great thing that happened this week. And another thing that happened, so this weekend, I believe there's a Comic-Con show happening in Chicago this weekend, and Giancarlo Esposito was on stage at Comic-Con Chicago and was basically addressing a direct question about his conversations with Marvel. He said, I've met with Marvel. We're deciding on the right role for me. He said they do things great. They have great projects in the hopper. He said, and they've got a lot of things coming. And, we've talked about Magneto and Doctor Doom and he's Professor X. And he says, if I was going to choose one, it would be Professor X. So there's now this huge rumor that Giancarlo Esposito is playing the new Professor X in the X-Men franchise, which we're hoping we hear something about at D23.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think he'd be good in that role.
Yeah, it'd be great. I don't want him to play Doctor Doom.
Oh, no.
Doctor Doom needs to be a little bit more of and nothing against his age, but a younger guy that's a little bit more, has a physical prowess to him. You know what I'm saying?
A little more sinister, right.
A little more sinister, a little more physical. Josh Brolin was, even though it was CGI, he's kind of a
big dude,
an imposing dude,
yeah.
And I think like somebody like that, it doesn't have to be this huge dude. I just think it needs to be someone else. But he's a great actor. He's been in The Mandalorian, which is fabulous, and
The Boys.
And The Boys, that's right.
Yeah, so he's been everywhere, and very popular, and obviously very tight with with Disney based on his roles in the Star Mandalorian series.
Right.
So I think he'd be great in any of those roles. I think he'd be a good Magneto as well. So that could happen. But look, he's basically saying, I have a very good feeling I'm going to be Professor X, which is just, when these guys come out and do this stuff, number one, they probably don't know the wrath of Marvel, but I guess we'll find out. But that's what a great rumor that is. Yeah. It's fantastic. Speaking of rumors, more news hit the wire this week about Henry Cavill's future in the MCU as well. Again, we've heard absolutely nothing from Warner Brothers, Discovery, or
we've
DC.
Actually heard a lot from them, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, we've heard a lot from them, but nothing specifically in regards to Henry Cavill and his future in the franchise as the Superman character. You and I think it's just completely stupid for them to let him go and not sign him to a long-term deal, because he really did play that character and that role very well. And now there's more and more rumors hitting the wire about him joining the MCU in some kind of capacity, and saying that he's very close to signing a multi-picture deal with Marvel as a character. And now the rumors are that it's possible he might be the new Mr. Fantastic. So I don't know. I don't see it. Who knows? But
no.
But
Captain Britain, maybe. He's Superman, dude. That's going to be hard for audiences to get out of their heads and put him as.
And there's rumors that he's
Mr.
now in line
Fantastic.
for the next 007 potentially. To follow on Daniel Craig's run that ended recently, that he might be in the running to be the new 007 as well.
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could be down with that. But he's Superman. He's not any other. He's not Mr. Fantastic for sure. So.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, again, it'd be interesting to see if and when he does get cast in another role there.
Now, I'm excited about this next bit of news.
Wow, this was really crazy. And the way it leaked was crazy as well. I can't remember the girl's name. She has a TikTok account, and
isn't it the daughter of the director?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought it was his daughter.
If it is, then that's news to me. But I thought it was just some girl just happened to run into these guys. And so this girl has a TikTok account. She released a video on TikTok of her sitting next to the director of the Moon Knight series.
The Egyptian guy.
Yeah, and asked him point blank, hey, any news about Moon Knight Season 2? And the camera points to him and he goes, Moon Knight Season 2? And then the camera pans over to Oscar Isaac, and he's in a full beard. And he goes, well, why else would we be in Cairo?
Right.
And this basically then set off all these alarm bells across the internet about, okay, so Moon Knight Season 2 is coming. It's been greenlit. They're at least doing some scouting of locations in Cairo right now because the director and the actor are there. Wow. How exciting is that?
That was pretty cool.
You and I know, number one, the Moon Knight character and Oscar Isaac will be back in the MCU. He did way too good of a job playing that character. We have a lot of thoughts of where we could see him or use him in other projects, Disney Plus and movie projects down the road.
One of which is Midnight Suns, which there's another rumor that's being developed. That would be fabulous. That would be outstanding.
And it's possible that he's in that Werewolf by Night special that's coming around the Halloween
That would
time,
make
which
sense.
we don't know anything about. But look, we were like, you got to bring this guy back. He did way too good of a job. And so a season 2 of Moon Knight, the series, would be welcomed for us as consumers, right? Fans. So that was just a huge, big surprise. It is amazing to me how this stuff gets leaked out over the internet. It's phenomenal, but we love it. Those are news items this week. Anything else you wanted to talk about, Titanium?
No, I think that's it. Let's get to the...
Well, we got our topic of the week this week is in regards to a lot of the other announcements we heard this week, and we're going to be talking about the future of the DC Entertainment Universe, or the DCEU. Warner Brothers Discovery made a pretty big press release this week in regards to their 10-year plan of the merged company of the Warner Brothers properties and the Discovery properties, and talking about their future plans for developing new projects, releasing projects, and what they were going to focus their time and energy and money on.
Yeah.
We know they're still out there looking for their Kevin Feige of the DCEU, somebody that can kind of try to lead this vision. in the meanwhile, what they've said is we are, they came out openly and said we're modeling ourselves after the success of Marvel.
Which is what I told Gavin Klingon when he texted me as soon as this started to drop. I said, look, the good news is that they are now admittedly, and it's a good thing, saying that they're going to copy the roadmap that Disney did with Marvel and mock out a 10-year plan and focus on our A-level characters.
Core characters. They basically call that specifically, and from DC characters' perspective, they call out Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman as their core characters.
And Gal Gadot had admitted, she's already said that, yes, Wonder Woman 3 is in the works.
It's happening.
Happening. And I am I'm going to play more.
She's committed.
She's committed. And the quote that was told that she is a team player, so she is going to be in multiple pictures. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her in some other franchise pictures.
Well, and again, there was another rumor that came out this past week that we thought Ben Affleck was pretty much done playing Batman. We understood that he had filmed some scenes for the Flash movie that's supposed to be coming out next year. But we thought that that's the last time we were going to see him as a character. And then the rumor came out that he was going to be in Aquaman: The Last Kingdom.
Yeah.
And so you're like, wait a minute, is he really done playing Batman? Or is he back as the future Batman of this kind of universe of characters? We don't know. I mean, there's so many things that are still unknown, and that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. But
so the big thing that hit the shockwave, let's talk about the
Go ahead.
1,000-pound gorilla in the room. They canceled Batgirl.
The movie.
Right.
So
it was supposed to be on HBO Plus. So they
HBO Max.
Well, they shelved it. They shelved it.
No, they completely scrapped it.
Some what they said is we canceled it. Some say it's being shelved. But the fact of the matter is that, and people, this is a misconception, and I need to clear this up. The fact of the matter is, this movie wasn't finished.
It was close.
It was close.
They were in the middle of filming it.
They were filming it, but it wasn't anywhere near finished. It hadn't gone through post-production, none of that stuff. So it wasn't ready to drop, and then they canceled it. No, there was still money to be spent to finish this project.
And they showed scenes of the actress who had been cast in the role of Batgirl. They showed scenes of her.
Michael Keaton is in this movie.
Yeah, they showed scenes of her getting out of her outfit, and basically pulling her mics off, and the day that they were told that the project had been canceled, and so they were showing these kind of behind the scenes footage of them just basically quitting or being told to leave. And there's more to this story though, and I think that it's important for the audience to understand why they made this decision. So they had at this point in time spent $90 million making this movie, and this was a project they announced last year during their what do they call the DC Expo? What do they call it?
Fandom.
The DC Fandom event. They announced they announced the actors who had been cast as Batgirl. They announced the directors who were going to be directing the movie. Two brothers, I believe, were directing the movie, and they were really excited about the project. They were going to begin.
The two guys that did Miss Marvel,
yeah,
were directing the
exactly.
movie.
And that may have something else to do with it too.
Yeah,
I'm not saying, but it may have something else to do with it.
Oof.
But so anyway, they announced that at Fandom last year. This movie was filming currently, so it was supposed to potentially hit later this year or early next year. But they had already spent $90 million on this, and like, why would they give up on $90 million they spent on this project?
I heard the project was $90 million and
potentially budgeted for $90 million. Well, so what happened? The merger of DC and Discovery had created this very short window. So one of the things that the new CEO is tasked with is taking a lot of the debt off the books that both companies have, right? So they merged together, combined the debt that they had together, and it's a substantial amount. And one of the things that the merger allows them to do is write off investments they currently had on the books that were pre-merger. When the merger occurred and a new company was formed, they're able to write off investments, right, as tax write-offs. They were basically, hey, you created this new company and you're allowed to write this off of your taxes. So what they decided to do was take that $90 million they had put into the Batgirl project and said, we're just going to write it off. The catch here is that by writing that off or taking that tax write-off, this movie will never be seen.
Right.
They can't show it on the big screen. They can't show it on HBO Max. They can't accidentally release it to the public. It can never be seen and never be shown, because then that tax exemption goes away. So a lot of people are like, well, hey, why don't just put it on HBO Max? Who cares? Just finish it and put it on HBO Max. Well, look, it's going to cost them a little more money to finish the project and then edit the project and then create a final product. And then they're going to probably have to market it a little bit, put a little bit of money into marketing. So there's more money they have to spend, and they're never going to get their return on that investment. I mean, even if it were in theaters, no way that movie makes more than $100 million.
Just for the record, I was told there would be no math during this show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But let me add another angle for this. Batgirl is a C-level character, if at best a C plus level character. I love Batgirl. I was definitely gonna look. I was looking forward to watching this, but she's a C-level character. If you're gonna roll the dice during this merger, that's not a character you want to roll the dice with. The $90 million for a return on investment. It's just not going to be there. And they've been getting crushed lately with some really stinkers. So
Batgirl as a character has never proven to be a solo character that can carry a project on her own, whether it's media, movies or television, or whether it's comic books. She's had individual Batgirl comics in the past,
Correct.
and they have not done well.
No.
And so this is the best things that she does is be part of the Bat family. When
Yes.
she's part of Batman and
Yes.
Robin and the Bat family, even back in the 60s, during the Adam West run, I mean, Barbara Gordon was on the television show, but it was because she was part of that team and kind of worked with them at times, why she was compelling.
I think C-level characters and even some B-level characters should be brought in. I call it sideways. Bring them in sideways. Don't focus and have an origin story, and i.e. Miss Marvel should have been brought in sideways. Not focus on a backstory and an origin story for this, and bring them all the way through, and just have it flop majorly. Batgirl is one of those characters where she should have been brought in sideways. It's like Robin, Robin. I think have a whole season of Robin.
But I think this, and again, one of the things that we've enjoyed about the Titans television show is that it was Robin / Nightwing. It was the Dick Grayson character, but he was surrounded by another cast of characters,
the Titans,
that could support him.
It was a group. Yeah,
right.
I agree.
And I think one of the things, the core of the message that Discovery WarnerBrothers came out with was, we are only going to be creating, producing, and releasing high quality content.
Yeah.
We're focused on high quality content, and if it doesn't pass our muster, if we don't think it's a good project, we're not releasing it.
Right.
And I think that the core of this was, look, it might be okay, but it's not going to be a blockbuster.
Right.
And is it really what we want to center our time, attention, and money around right now?
It was a business decision.
Right.
The tax exemption was worth
Huge.
more to them than the project itself, or the notoriety of the project. I'm sorry people got their feelings hurt, and they're up at arms about, she deserves
just release
better.
it on HBO Max.
She deserves better. Of course she deserves better, but this is a business decision. You don't get into that business. You're not a part of that business unless you're willing to take some of the lumps that come along with it.
Right.
It can't all be hugs and fuzzies and butterfly kisses. This is the business that you're in.
Yeah, and so what they also said, part of this announcement was, we're going to focus on these core characters: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Again, no big announcements.
The bread and butter.
Right.
That's the money shot right there. You got to get into those. And we talked about this, Professor. You had said this, to shelve Superman for this long, one of your favorite characters, to shelve Superman,
most popular, most successful, characters,
to shelve him and put effort into a Batgirl's project, criminal. That's criminal.
So, but they also did say, look, we have projects in the works today. We do have projects that we're working on that we'll be releasing, and we will continue to invest and develop those projects. And so they spoke about...
Canceled a shitload of them, though, didn't they?
They did cancel a bunch of things, but they did say we're going to, we've got Shazam! Fury of the Gods coming out later this year.
Nothing's changed with that, right?
Nope, that movie's coming out in December 21st of this year. That's happening.
Did they push the Aquaman back a little bit?
I don't think so. That was pushed. If you remember, that swapped places with Shazam. So Aquaman was supposed to come out the end of this year, and Shazam was coming out in the spring. They basically flopped places there. They pushed that to March. That's supposed to be coming out March of 2023, March 17th. So Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, again, Two things we know about that project. Amber Heard's role is either being completely eliminated or significantly reduced in that movie based on everything that's happened, because nobody wants to see her on screen right now. So the role of Mira, or the character of Mira, I don't think they've recast that role yet. We haven't heard anything about it, or there's somebody else, doing reshoots. But whatever she's already shot is going to be significantly reduced in that movie, and her role in that movie is being significantly reduced as well.
Shazam's still on the slate, still good.
Shazam's happening. We saw a trailer for that at Comic-Con. Looked really good. Actually got us kind of excited about the project. So, that is coming out this year. Aquaman and Lost Kingdom, we know Jason Momoa is excited about that. Again, the rumors of Ben Affleck now being in that project, at least we don't know if it's a cameo or some other kind of role. We'll see, but that's...
Black Adam is still happening.
Black Adam happening, that's just coming out in, 2 months? September, right? So, we're getting that very soon, and obviously that's going to be coming out as well. But these are high quality. They feel these meet the quality standards of what DC wants to come out with, and these are they're still in the works. The Flash movie, currently still on the schedule as of now. It's supposed to come out in June of next year. They've done a ton of filming for this. They've made a ton of this movie. I don't know if it's done filming or in post-production or whatever, but Ezra Miller, number one, had already been going off the rails, and the most recent developments are like, are you kidding me? Have you heard about this? How he's running a compound and having barely legal teenage girls come to his compound and being indoctrinated into his group as 18-year-old girls.
Like a cult.
Yeah. He's up to some wacky stuff. So who knows what's going on with that? And that was such a big project for them, because I think that was a way for them to hit this reset button on the DC universe.
We've said it here on the show.
Right.
You've said it, Professor. We've said it here on the show several times. This is so important for them to hit the reset button. But you've never liked him as the Flash.
No, number one is a whack job to begin with, but I just didn't like him.
Did you see Grant Gustinson, his goodbye speech for the season? Oh, it was a tearjerker. Class act, then. That kid is class act.
Well, that season is coming out, so
yes.
And that's another announcement they made, is that they're canceling all the CW shows, with one minor exception. But all of the CW shows, so the CW shows started with Arrow, and then The Flash came out, and then they had other shows like the Batwoman show and Black Lightning and a bunch of other ones that they had come out with. Arrow went away, then The Flash became kind of the primary show on the CW. Their final season is this year, so they did come out and officially announce that after this year, the Flash television show on the CW is going to end, so effectively ending the Arrowverse shows and series. Legends of Tomorrow was the other one. That one ended after last year. So they're officially ending the Arrowverse. The one minor exception is the Superman and Lois show that just, I think, debuted last season as their first season. I do believe that they plan on making that for another couple of years. They've put a lot of money into it, and it's doing very well. And supposedly the characters are an alternate universe version of those characters, so they can kind of
coexist.
Keep them on their own and not really too worry about that.
Right.
And that one will continue for a couple years. But this is basically telling us that they're effectively consolidating all of their properties into properties that they can control. I look at this as a very similar move to what Marvel did when they canceled the Netflix series. So Marvel Studios was making movies, and they wanted to make their own television shows on Disney Plus, which we've seen now them doing. But they had these licenses for television shows that they had given out to ABC Television. It was a different group at Marvel that was making these television shows. Both the Netflix shows that aired on Netflix, like Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Iron Fist and Luke Cage and The Punisher, those were being run by a completely different group, not directly reporting to Kevin Feige.
Right.
And so they pulled the plug on those. They canceled all those simultaneously for two reasons. One, because they weren't controlling them. And two, they wanted the rights to those characters to come back to the Marvel Studios side at some point in time. So they had to do that. And the other one was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was on ABC Television as well. That one, they kind of pulled those rights back as well. And now there's all kinds of rumors of characters from all of these shows showing up in Disney Plus shows and movies and everything else. So now they're under their control and under their button. And I think this move is very similar to that. DC is now saying we're taking all of these properties that we had on these television networks and we're pulling that back in under our control. So if we want to come out with a Flash television show, if we want to come out with a television show based on Black Lightning, we can do it on HBO Max.
They have more creative control and character control. They can make it canon if they want. I mean,
but they can bring Grant Gustin back, and they can do a Flash revival show on HBO Max. And then, I mean, look, I loved Grant Gustin. I thought he did a fantastic job of playing that Flash character. As a matter of fact, I thought that DC would have done very well to cast him in the movie role. I thought that would have been great, and because there's a familiar face who did really well at playing that character. So who knows what they're going to do, but
I don't know about HBO Max. I think that Discovery Plus and HBO Max are going to merge.
They said that. They announced that, right? Yeah, the streaming services.
So we don't know what it's going to be called, but
yeah.
There is going to be a streaming service that's merged between several streaming services. The big ones, Discovery Plus and HBO Max.
Yeah, they're going. I don't know. They may rename it something. That's the combined. I don't know. It makes me wonder if they're really going to give up on Discovery Plus was a fairly new service. HBO's got a pretty big following as well as a recognizable name, so I think they might consolidate it under the HBO Max and just kind of add Discovery content to HBO Max, similar to what Disney did when they launched Disney Plus. They brought all of that National Geographic content underneath Disney Plus, and instead of having National Geographic Online, they had their own section under Disney Plus. Who knows what they're going to call it? But they did say we're going to continue to invest in those projects that are specifically designed for streaming services like HBO Max. So we know that Doom Patrol Season 3 is coming out. These have already been teased on HBO during some of their commercial breaks. Doom Patrol Season 3 is coming out. Titan Season 4 is coming out. We know that for a fact. We know Matt Reeves is working on 2 specifically series for HBO Max. One focused on the Penguin character from his Batman movie, The Batman movie, and an Arkham Asylum series he's working on for HBO Max as well. So we know those are coming out. We know Peacemaker Season 2 is happening. James Gunn has come out and said, we are making a Peacemaker Season 2. It is happening.
Yeah.
So we know those series are coming, and they're going to continue to invest in what they feel are series with quality characters, quality stories that they can use as properties on their streaming services to promote those streaming services.
Yeah, it's smart. I mean, those were very successful. You just don't go away from your cash cows, and that's what those are. I mean, Gotham Knights, that was canceled again.
And the other one we know is coming to HBO Max at some point in time. They were talking about doing a Green Lantern series on HBO Max as well. So, and again, that's another character that's been shelved for years.
Way too long.
Years.
Way too long.
Yeah, so they're going to do a Green Lantern core show or series on HBO Max, and we'd love to see that character come back. So, I mean, gosh, Ryan Reynolds played that character 10 years ago? 11 years ago? I mean, it's been a long time.
Just the Justice League as a whole, those are the A-type level characters. These B-type level characters are great. Put them on HBO series. But to try to push on consumers these C-level characters and pass them off as, you're going to love me. No matter what, you're going to love this character. That's not the fact. I mean, look at history, the way they do in comic books. Look how they performed in comic books. They were C-level characters at best. So,
and they have said we're going to continue to invest in our DC animation projects because those have been very successful and very well liked. Yeah. Not just the Teen Titans or the Young Justice series that they've continued to have on the streaming service, but other individual movie projects that DC Animation makes every year, and those have all been very good. So we're going to continue with that because they help develop and grow the fan base of these characters. But these major motion picture projects are going to be focused around these core characters, and they're going to be high quality content and high quality stories, and that's where
quality, not quantity.
Yes.
So they're going to go for quality, not quantity.
And again, until we get that Kevin Feige figure at Warner Brothers,
are they waiting for that to announce the 10-year plan?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to create a 10-year plan and then hand it over to somebody to run? Or are you going to hire somebody that's going to be in charge of developing a 10-year plan and then letting them shepherd it, all the way through?
Well, they say they have a 10-year plan already. But they don't have that figure in place,
and they haven't announced it. And maybe that's the reason why. Because it's like, would you hire a new? So they talk about if like a football team or a baseball team or a basketball team hires a new general manager. Do you want him? So you have no general manager, you have no coach. Do you want to hire a coach and then the general manager afterwards who's going to be in charge of running that coach and that team? Or do you want to have the general manager in place and let him hire the coach who's going to be working for him, right? His guy. So I think that's what they're looking to do is I think they have a loose 10-year plan, but when this person comes in and takes over, they're going to leave it up to that person to kind of map it all out and say, how are we going to do all this?
When do you think, in your opinion, we'll get that mapped out 10-year plan?
I would be surprised if that person is not in place by this time next year. They are actively recruiting and looking for that person right now, and I think the sooner they announce who that person is, the better for them. Yeah. If we're talking about this time next year and we still don't have that person in place, I don't have any confidence in the future of this. Thought it was. Yeah, it's shit show. Because they really don't have any major motion picture projects announced past this time next year. Like, again, we know the Flash movie is supposed to be coming out in June of next year, but in August of next year, they've got nothing. They've got nothing else coming. And we got rumors that there's another Wonder Woman movie coming, and we hope that there's another Superman movie coming. Right. Well, the other one that they did announce, I'll use the one exception to their projects. We did get an announcement this week that the Joker movie Joker 2 has an official title. It is now called Joker Folie Deux, which in French means troubled mind, right? Joker, the troubled mind. And they did confirm. They kind of came out with a little teaser. They gave us a date, so it's coming out October 4th, 2024. And they did confirm that Lady Gaga is going to be in the movie.
You know how I feel about this.
And the rumors of it being a musical are just making us shudder, but yeah.
Please don't be a musical.
Oh my God.
Please don't be a musical.
I'm fine with Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. I think she might do very well.
In the alternate universe, of course.
But if it's a musical...
Oh.
And the Joker movie was so good, it was nominated for Best Picture, and the actor, Joaquin Phoenix, won the Oscar for Best Actor. Why would you then take that property and make it a musical? I don't get it, but we'll see. But they did give us a date.
Hopefully the people that were talking about doing that are no longer with Warner Brothers Discovery.
Yeah. Well, and again, as much as we want all this to be interconnected, and we do want to see a very good Justice League movie or a group of individuals coming to very similar to the way the Marvel did it with the Avengers, we want to see these characters interacting with each other, the heroes and the villains. We want to see them come together. But what they've shown is these characters are so rich and so beloved, they can create independent projects like the Joker, like the Batman, and they can be incredibly well done and very well received, and you don't need to do anything else.
Yeah, they don't need to be interconnected. Yeah,
it'd be nice if they were, but they don't have to be. Right.
Yeah. All right, Professor, great show. The bell is rung, and that's it for us today. Hey, remember to join us at Bear Chase, September 11th. It's a Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Get there early. Get a seat early. It's going to be a hell of a show.
Oh, and I don't know if we want to announce that, but
what?
No, we'll talk.
We'll save it.
Yeah, we'll save it.
We'll save it. I love it.
All right. Great. Well, that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week for more Super Talk. To get in touch with us on social media, hit us up via email, supertalkpodcast@outlook.com or at supertalkpod on Twitter. Until then, stay super, and thank you, everybody.
And we're out.
Thanks, YouTube.
Black Viper. Everyone likes this game. Haters gonna hate. And I know you can't wait to see the Black Viper. Round and round she goes.